We'll get to that.
So, I mean, I'll be there. So until the 20th, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So, I understand the policy. I mean, I'm not going to try to stand in the way of anybody submitting a name or picking anybody or doing whatever you got to do to get the process done. I would simply make sure that you guys check, what general law may say in regard to this, in regard to a public posting and such not, so that you don't go and pick the person that you want to pick, and then with the selectmen, and then go and have a situation where somebody comes out of the woodwork and says, well, you didn't dot all your I's and cross all your T's, and now you got to go back to you were involved in a similar process a few years ago. So that would be my only caution there.
I know I would like to actually see it posted in the newspaper personally, but I'm wondering if maybe what we can't do is we still, given your motion, we have the 13th, the week of the 9th through the 13th to meet with the selectmen. Perhaps maybe we think about trying to push that back to the week of the 16th through the 20th, which would give us an extra week. Put it in the newspaper, have it posted properly.
There is no condition, just so you know, Mr. Sullivan is right, there is no condition that says we have to post it in the newspaper.
No, but I think we are going to hit a different pool of people in addition. There are some people that don't have charter. There are some people that don't get the newspaper, but might have charter. Or there may be people that watch the selectmen's meetings as well. So that's, I think, my line of thought.
If I could, through the chair, speaking to the motion, I've considered many of these points. There's been some new points brought forward. Certainly, if I interpreted Mr. Harenstein's position, is he looks to not put the school committee at disadvantage with having a post May 20th will be short a member, and that could be problematic. So my dates specific are open to amendment. However, we have a file of interested applicants. I believe that we should copy them on the notice because in October we went through this process. Anyone who's a hiring authority recognizes that applicants within a year are still valid and should be considered for positions. So we've gone through the process. That's part of the pool of notices, I think, beyond if we decide to put it in newspapers. My concern is, if it's not a policy, I don't know what the cost is, but
We have money we have an advertising line, and this notice would go in just like we are putting a notice to go out for postings for staffing. My biggest concern is that doesn't worry me as much as to how do we get the reason why we were looking into June is because in speaking to the chair of the Board of Selectmen, these were dates that he felt the Board of Selectmen's group could work with because it's beyond town meeting and it doesn't affect their schedule. Not that these were hard and fast, but, they could go and discuss this tomorrow at their meeting. We can discuss it here. If these dates work with us, that he could discuss it, work with them. I mean, I'm just saying, the two boards are not meeting together to come up with the same dates. So it's going to have to be this board tries to come up with some dates that work, send them to the selectmen, and then based on their vote.
Sure.
yeah, I think we can
We put it out
extend that
there.
window. In terms of media circulation, I don't have the answer. I know our local publications cover anywhere between 15 and 20% of the homes. I can't help them with that. I know Charter doesn't cover all the homes. I can't help with that. We can post it as town criers throughout Westport don their hats and notify the public that this opening is in place. I believe that a 2-week process makes sense, so we'll notify them tomorrow. I think you suggested 2 weeks from there, ask the Board of Selectmen to give us a date. I'll be there at that time.
Can you?
If we want to select some dates, we'll go forward. I can make amendments, but yes.
That would be my
That's what I'm hearing.
suggestion.
Yeah.
Dates, like
Yep.
during that week, maybe of the week of the
I need to withdraw
16th
my
through the
second,
20th.
If you want to amend it.
Withdraw your second, and
Will we send it?
dates, but I'm
He's
making
amending it.
Oh, I'm
amendment
sorry,
to
okay.
include,
I missed that.
Is there any dates that people feel they can't do on that week of the 16th?
The
through
16th to the
20th?
20th?
we're scheduled on what, the 11th and the 25th?
Right.
So let's say the 11th or the 18th? The 11th, 12th, 18th, or 19th. Give them those 4 dates, see if they can, and if not, we'll do it in June.
11th,
I actually cannot do the 12th.
Okay?
so May 11th.
My suggestion would be that week of the 16th through the 20th.
Suggest
Would
some
that work
dates.
for you?
We meet on the 18th, but we can add
And-
that to our agenda.
Or combine,
No, we don't meet
No,
on
we
the
don't meet the
18th,
18th.
but we can meet on that night. I'm
Okay.
just wondering, people have commitments sometimes.
and that gives them 5
16,
days.
Oh, yeah.
17, 18.
There'll be plenty of time if we do it that way.
No, but
16,
is there
17,
any dates that are not good for someone here?
Jim?
I think I'm good on all those.
I'm good on all the dates. whatever
Including
you guys want.
Fridays? Remember, usually we do it
Not
in the
including the
evening.
Friday.
Well, Friday the 20th, I'm not.
Yeah,
but-
that's- neither am
16th
I.
through 19th, Tim, you're a sitting member and are entitled to a vote. Are any of those dates not good for you?
I don't know if he would be entitled to a vote.
He's still a member.
As a sitting
Oh,
member?
my God.
I'm,
That's
through the chair.
well,
Hold on.
I don't think we should be meeting before the 20th. I really don't.
And I said I wasn't going to stand in your way, but the way I interpret this is
Resign
that upon a vacancy has been created, the vacancy isn't actually created until the 20th. Okay, so that's the way that I interpret that that reading out there. And so again, you guys can do what you want,
Vacancy hasn't occurred.
but you do run into the situation of, if you try to hold a meeting before I've resigned, unless there's some obscure clause in some law somewhere, technically, I think that I've got the ability to not only participate in the interview process, but to actually vote, which, that's kind of weird,
Wait a minute, Mike.
so.
Jim had asked already. Go ahead.
Well, I think I inappropriately blurted it out in between other people, but the way I read the policy, and the other policy that's not here about the process of resigning, that can be withdrawn at any time up until the date that's written on the letter, I think it's inappropriate to do anything before the 20th, and that's how I'm going to vote.
Mike?
Having checked with legal authority, who, I believe he's a lawyer, the director of our association, has suggested that upon becoming aware of a vacancy has been created that will become effective on May 20th. We're aware of a vacancy. It's been created by virtue of that letter. Upon acceptance of that letter by the town clerk, it's effective, by the way, Jim, rather. I mean through the chair, excuse me. There is a process to rescind one's letter of resignation. It follows resignations from many organizations, whether it be elected or a company one works for. If you resign, there is a process to rescind, but it's not automatic. We've accepted the letter of resignation, and part of my motion to display that is to notify the Board of Selectmen of a vacancy that's been created by
Is-
virtue of that letter.
Is there a way we can find out, I mean, this is directly mask policy. This isn't,
I have a couple of things.
it's
I do
a
not-
little vague.